Hi guys, so there's a lot of stuff that's going to be happening in 2015. First of all, Jupiter is still exalted in the sign of Cancer, and Jupiter will be there until July 13th. Saturn is now in the sign of Scorpio, and Saturn will be there all year. There are going to be two total eclipses. There's going to be a total solar eclipse on March 20th, and there's going to be a total lunar eclipse on April 4th. And then dates that Jupiter and Venus are going to be combust are August 15th, Venus is going to be combust, and on August 26th, Jupiter is going to be combust. And these are dates that I want you guys to keep in mind. And then there's going to be a beautiful conjunction between Jupiter and Venus on July 1st. So that's going to be a good time to do something that is beneficial, that's happy, that's auspicious, that's enjoyable, etc. And then finally, Mercury is going to be retrograde 3 times. Mercury is going to be retrograde January 21st until February 1st, May 18th until June 11th, and September 17th until October 9th. Okay, let's talk about the eclipses really quick. The eclipses happen when the nodes of the moon, the north node and the south node, which in Vedic astrology are termed Rahu and Ketu, they cause a shadow on the sun or the moon. So the sun and the moon represent our mind and our soul. So what ends up happening is there's a shadow that covers our soul, it covers our mind. There's a shadow of a doubt, there's confusion, there's uncertainty during these times. We don't see things clearly. We don't really see where we're going. Things are like kind of, dawn and dusk. Things are shady. Things are shadowy. Things are smoky. So during these times, during an eclipse, we want to avoid anything auspicious, especially on the day of the eclipse. And if you can help it, don't go outside that day, but most importantly, do not look at the eclipse. Following an eclipse, pay attention to the nakshatra that the eclipse takes place. This year, the solar eclipse is going to take place in the nakshatra of Hasta, and the lunar eclipse is going to take place in the nakshatra of Uttara Bhadrapada. So what you guys want to do is remember these nakshatras, and following 3 to 6 months after the eclipse, do not do anything important. Do not get married. Do not purchase a house. Do not sign a large contract, etc. Do not do anything that's very important when a planet is transiting these two nakshatras. Now, eclipses usually do not affect everyone equally. Most people will not have a planet in the nakshatra that the eclipse takes place, but some of us do have planets in those nakshatras. So check your natal chart, check your Vedic astrology birth chart, and see if you have any natal planets in the nakshatra of Hasta, which happens in the sign of Virgo. This is between 10 degrees and 23 degrees 20 minutes of Virgo. And check to see if you have a planet in the nakshatra of Uttara Bhadrapada. And this one takes place in the sign of Pisces between 3 degrees 20 minutes of Pisces to 16 degrees 40 minutes of Pisces. So if you guys have any planets in Pisces or Virgo, then the significations of those planets or whatever houses they rule or whatever natural qualities that these planets signify may tend to get affected by the eclipse, but the effect will be more pronounced if your planet happens to fall in one of these nakshatras. Okay, so the other 2 dates for you guys to keep in mind are the dates that Venus and Jupiter are combust. These 2 planets are the most beneficial planets in astrology. And so when these 2 planets happen to be combust, you guys also want to avoid doing anything auspicious. Getting married, purchasing a house, selling a house, signing a contract, going on an interview, or just anything that's very important that signifies something that's long term. You guys don't want to do it during these the combustion of any of these two planets. So with that being said, again, Venus is going to be combust on August 15th, avoiding anything about a week or two prior to that date, a week or two after the date, and then Jupiter is going to be combust on August 26th. Finally, keep in mind the dates that Mercury is retrograde, because these are dates that you guys don't want to make any large purchases. Mercury represents communication, it represents the intellect, discrimination, the ability to judge correctly, the ability to analyze. And when Mercury goes retrograde, things tend to get a little bit fuzzy. We do not analyze things correctly. We analyze things in a backward way. We don't judge correctly. We don't see the flaws in things. We're not able to discriminate very well between right and wrong, or between good or bad. And so if you guys, don't go on a shopping spree, don't sign any contracts, don't make a large purchase, do not buy a house, do not get a car during a retrograde Mercury, because what will end up happening is you guys might regret it down the road. Then once Mercury goes direct, then you guys will see the flaws in your purchase. You guys will want to return it. Sometimes you can return it, sometimes you can't. So just keep that in mind, and keep those dates in mind. The dates that Mercury is retrograde, do not do anything that's highly auspicious. Jupiter will be transiting your 6th house the first half of the year, and this is going to be a time in which the focus will be on your health and on healing modalities. You may be looking for alternative healing methods. You may be increasing your knowledge in regards to health, to healing matters. It could also include in regards to dieting and having a healthier lifestyle. So during this time, Jupiter may bring that desire to improve your health. Now, the 6th house also has to do with debts. So with Jupiter transiting your 6th house during this time, this may be a time in which you focus the first half of the year on paying off your debts. This position of Jupiter highly favors work, and it highly favors achievement, promotion, and having the edge over your competitors. The 6th house has to do with work and with service, but from this position, Jupiter is also aspecting your 10th house, and that one has to do with work and career as well. Both the 6th house and the 10th house have to do with work. So that is largely indicated by Jupiter's transit over Cancer, and Saturn is also transiting the sign of Scorpio, and this is your 10th house. So you have two planets focusing their influence on the sign of Scorpio, and when both Jupiter and Saturn are simultaneously aspecting that same sign, or one of them's transiting and the other one's aspecting it, that house becomes very, very activated during that time. Jupiter will also be aspecting its own sign, the sign of Pisces, which is your 2nd house. So your 2nd house of income, of wealth, of resources is becoming activated during the first half of the year. So you should see an increase in your income. There could be a raise the first half of the year. This is very, very auspicious, very favorable for you with Jupiter's aspect here. Jupiter is also aspecting the sign of Capricorn, and the sign of Capricorn is your 12th house. So this could also indicate for many of you traveling to a foreign country during the first half of the year, or moving to a foreign country. In your case, Jupiter rules the 2nd house of wealth. Jupiter rules your 11th house of gains, and Jupiter's natural significations have to do with money, with wealth, with prosperity. So Jupiter is a very, very strong planet for wealth in your chart. Since he's aspecting the 12th house and he rules the 11th house, one of the indications is that you could make money through foreign affairs, through foreign networking, through foreign business, because at this time Jupiter is activating the house of career, the house of work. Jupiter's activating the house of foreign relations, the 12th house, a foreign country, and he signifies wealth in your chart. So a lot of these things, if you put them together, it could indicate generating income, generating wealth through these foreign affairs, and meeting new people, meeting connections that could also help you down the road in achieving success. The second half of the year, Jupiter will be entering into the sign of Leo on July 13th. And this is going to activate that house of relationship, the house of romance, the house of marriage, the house of commitment. So for many of you, if you're not in a committed relationship during this time, Jupiter's transit into your 7th house will activate that. So you should meet someone very, very soon after Jupiter enters that sign, or if you already know that person, that is the time where it could be taken to the next level. For others, if you guys already are in a committed relationship, Jupiter's transit into your 7th house could actually indicate marriage. And this is especially so in your case because Jupiter rules your 2nd and 11th house. If there's a transit of Jupiter into the 2nd house, into the 7th house, into the 11th house, or if the Lord of any of these houses transits any of these other houses, even if it's not Jupiter, that greatly increases the potential for marriage. So that is one of the way that astrologers are able to predict marriage. And in your case, Jupiter not only rules the 2nd house, he rules the 11th house. Being in the 7th house, this is just very, very strong, very favorable. Of course, it will definitely depend on your personal birth chart, but the potential for a relationship, for a committed relationship, for marriage is there for many of you. The second half of the year will continue being very favorable for income because now Jupiter in the sign of Leo will be aspecting the sign of Sagittarius, which is the 11th house. So basically throughout the whole year of 2015, the whole year should be favorable for you guys in regards to finances, in regards to money, in regards to gains. With the first half of the year aspecting the 2nd house of income, then the second half of the year aspecting your 11th house of gains. Jupiter will also be aspecting the sign of Aquarius, which is your 1st house. It's the house that represents you. So the second half of the year, this will greatly boost your confidence. It will give you an expanded ability for leadership. It will give you recognition. For some of you, it will give you extra fame. If you guys are in the entertainment industry, this is a very favorable time for you. This is a time in which you'll have a stronger sense of purpose and a stronger sense of Dharma, because the planet of Dharma, the planet of purpose, will be aspecting your 1st house. You'll feel very good about yourself. This is a time of great abundance, of great expansion with Jupiter aspecting your 1st house. You're going to feel so good about yourself. You're going to feel very optimistic about life, very happy, very joyful. This is going to radiate from your aura. And as a result, people are going to be more drawn to you during this time. So your popularity will also increase. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for additional forecasts and don't forget to subscribe.